What is going on, Pats Nation? It's your boy Colby, also known as Patriots Global, back here with another post-game recap. You guys already know Sundays are long as all hell for me, but we got off of a live watch party. Crazy game. New England Patriots, Chicago Bears. Not just that, but we just got off of Bleacher Report too. Now here with my co-host, Rob from House Call, and we are going to break down every single thing we saw from each position to offense to defense in this win, this 19-3 win over the Chicago Bears on the road in Week 10. Today's video brought to you guys by BetUS. We'll talk to you a little bit later how you can get an exclusive limited time deal from them to have some extra fun this football season because, baby, let me tell you, the Patriots over the last 3 weeks are now 2-1. And realistically, if Drake Maye just hits Kayshon Boutte in stride a little bit more, we would be 3-0 right now. So I'm not beating my chest. We are where we are. I still think we're going to be like a 6-win team max, okay? But Rob, how we feeling?
A dub's a dub. Listen. We were all about tanking last year when we got our quarterback. There's not enough. There's plenty of reasons to trade back, so we can be in the top 5, top 10, and I'll still be fine. I don't care. I want to get wins. I want to get wins, as many as we can possibly get. Get the morale of this team as high as we possibly can get it.
Yeah, Rob. So we're at a really interesting point right now with this team, and that's the fact that I hate to say this, but in some ways, I've seen some Patriots fans kind of be like Jets fans in a way where you'll lose and you're completely down, you'll win, and immediately you're in the playoffs. Me and you are under the same kind of assumption right here, where you don't tank, right? You don't tank to try to get the best possible pick. You did that last year, and you got Drake Maye. The only real reason to quote tank, and I still don't agree with it, but that's to get your franchise quarterback. Losing becomes a regular thing. It becomes the mindset. It takes over your organization. If you do that every single year, when a season doesn't go your way or doesn't go the way that you wanted it to, so you immediately throw it out. That's how organizations are as bad as they are for so many years. That's how the Jets have been bad for so many years. The Cardinals have been, so bad for so many years because they lose and they just continue to lose, and it's hard to get out of that rut. So I don't believe personally in tanking when things don't go as planned, but right now, like I alluded to, I also don't think that the New England Patriots are a playoff team. They've strung together a couple of, wins here over the last few weeks, but you beat the Jets. In division games can go anyway. They've been a dumpster fire of an organization. You should have beat the Titans last week. The Titans aren't a good team, right? And then you go ahead and you beat the Chicago Bears with your most confident win of the season so far. That team is wildly inconsistent. So yes, you're winning some games, which is important for the long-term success of this organization, but I don't think you're winning enough games to feel confident about this team going on some type of run or this team somehow squeezing into the playoffs.
Only thing you're really going to try to grab from this year, from this point on, is May showing off some tape, enough tape to show off that free agents want to come here. Because, look what Jaden Daniels is doing in Washington, and they've got just almost as much money as we do. So we got to put out as much tape as we possibly can and really show off this kid.
Yeah, I think the other thing, too, is like people forget because people will be like, well, I don't know, Jaden Daniels in year 1 did it. Why can't the Patriots in year 1 of Drake Maye do it? And that's the fact that you have to understand, too. The Commanders made moves. Like, why are people forgetting? The Commanders went out in free agency, bro, and they made, like, big-time moves to where if they hit on the quarterback position, they were going to be good. They brought in Eckler. They already had more bodies even before they entered free agency than the Patriots had. They had more talent than the Patriots had, but they added Eckler. On the defensive side of the football, they added Bobby Wagner. They just traded for Marshawn Lattimore. Like, they started adding before the Patriots did. They're in a different circumstance than the Patriots are. I think that's something that's important to remember.
I think we can't ignore that they have one of the best GMs in Adam Peters, and we can't ignore the fact that they have Terry McLaurin. Austin Eckler's no slouch either. They've got talented players there. It's not apples to apples in terms of when you compare the two rosters. Like, people want to say how they have a janky offensive line, but when you have a wide receiver one that stretches the field, you cannot load the box. Being that we do not really have that guy that can really take the top off the defense, you can play closer to the line of scrimmage and really test May and his arm.
Yeah, they also have Dan Quinn at head coach. Like, they have a veteran head coach who's been a head coach in the league before, who is a stout defensive coordinator over the last few years for the Cowboys. we're really comparing apples to oranges here. Like, yes, there's some similarities between these teams, but there's also a lot of differences. Even, CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans, that roster wasn't elite yet, but they had a much better roster. They had much more playmakers on both sides of the football year one of CJ Stroud than the New England Patriots do year one of Drake Maye. So,
This is I'm sorry for cutting you off, but the comparison between the Texans and the Patriots don't make any sense to me because the cupboard's bare as far as when you look at the Patriots and Texans. That Texans team built by Nick Caserio was built for 4 years. That's not same. Like Nico Collins, now we're finding out he's a stud of a receiver. Tank Dell got a hell of a receiver in him. But you go look at the offensive line, and you have Laramie Tunsil on there. I believe Kenyon Green, if I'm not mistaken. They have the talent on that team. This team, let's call it as we see it. Bill Belichick left the cupboard bare, and it is what it is. And Belichick, I really can't hate him for a lot of it because a lot of the times he was doing that to try to compete. Let's try to load up the roster as much as we possibly can, but they just didn't do it the last couple of years. And I don't know, maybe he thought Mac Jones was going to be something special and just didn't pan out. The Texans, these things are not replicable. You have to have the receivers out there, and I don't really think we have that right now.
Well, for those of you who do want to tank or you are looking forward to the draft, which, hey, I don't believe in tanking, but if you're looking forward to the draft, I don't blame you. I'm also looking forward to the offseason and the draft and free agency because that's where this team's obviously going to rebuild. I think that's where a lot of the fun is for a rebuilding team. The fun for a rebuilding team isn't necessarily in the regular season. It's kind of in the offseason where you can start putting these pieces together. So for those of you wondering where the Patriots are in terms of the current draft order, right now, they're at 7th. They dropped from 1 all the way down to 7. Obviously, some caveats to keep in mind. There are teams currently playing right now. There are teams on bye weeks, so that kind of eschews this a little bit. But nonetheless, that is where the New England Patriots currently stand. They obviously dropped from 1 all the way down to 7, which is a big margin. But nonetheless, I think the Patriots, they're going to finish somewhere in the top 10. I don't see them being good enough to end up finishing outside of the top 10. And we'll break down. In fact, let's just do that now. Let's quickly look at where the rest of the schedule lies moving forward. So this is currently the rest of the Patriots schedule. Like we said, they're kind of coming off of this stretch where it's winnable. Beginning of the season, they go and they look at the Bengals, they look at the Seahawks, they look at the Jets, the 49ers, then the Texans. Like, that beginning stretch was the toughest part of the schedule. This middle stretch was probably the easiest part that you were going to get. Next up, you have the Rams on the road at home, where they're going to be wearing those throwback jerseys for the final time this season. It's a winnable game, right? And I don't say that confidently. I'm obviously going to pick the Rams when the time comes, but they're wildly inconsistent. We'll see how they play this week, but the Rams are wildly inconsistent. This isn't the playoff team we saw in 2023. They can show up any given week. They're kind of like the Patriots. I would say definitely a little better, but in terms of like, they can show up any given week and beat a team, but then they can show up any week and lose to any team. That's kind of the current state of the Rams. So that's a tough one to project. Obviously, you face the Dolphins in Miami. Patriots just never, ever win in Miami for whatever reason that is. The Colts game, I would say that's winnable for sure. Flacco, I would say, though, is better than Richardson. So you never know. Going against a veteran quarterback can sometimes still be tough. We saw that with Mason Rudolph. The Cardinals game, I don't think that that's as winnable as people thought. I mean, they're beating the Jets right now. They've been balling out this season. I'm not going to say it's a complete dumpster fire, but that is a team that very well could be a playoff team. And then you got the Bills twice, who are playing the hottest football we've seen the Bills play in years. And then, of course, you got the Chargers, who, they're beatable too, but they definitely have the better coaching staff than the Patriots. Rob, what are your thoughts on the remainder of the schedule?
There's no real gimmies, man. Every team is really they're playing, I would say, better than last year. I mean, the Rams, Sean McVay is just he's one of the top 3 coaches in the NFL as far as I'm concerned, whether it be Mike Tomlin, Andy Reid, or him. The Dolphins, now they have Tua back, so I mean, they're obviously going to elevate, and it's going to be, like you said, it's not easy to win in Miami. However, it may be a little bit colder. We've seen Miami when we played against them is generally like when it's hot as you know what. The Colts, that game, I think it just depends on if Flacco is playing or not. I actually have more confidence if we play against Anthony Richardson, than I do if we go against a veteran in Flacco. The Cardinals, it's just what version of the Cardinals are we going to get that week? Because they can be world beaters or they can be just As far as the Bills go, we know who the Bills are. Both those weeks, it's going to be a toss up. But more than likely, I give the nod to the Bills just because they are the standard of the AFC East right now. And the Chargers, I mean, Justin Herbert's having a better year this year. He's now he has a good coach, and it just I don't know. That may be another toss up. So I realistically see maybe the Colts or Chargers as another possible win. But we already knew that Las Vegas had the odds at 4.5 wins. So we're kind of hovering around what we were supposed to get in the first place.
Yeah, and BetUS too. BetUS actually had the Patriots down by 6 headed into the Chicago Bears game. So the Bears were a 6-point favorite, and obviously that didn't happen. So any given week, like we mentioned, there are a lot of teams where it could really go both ways. You could get beat out and blown out, rather. You wouldn't be surprised. You could come out with that game and you would say, okay, well, they're not exactly the best team, so I'm not 100% surprised. Like we said, the Rams, the Cardinals, that game in Miami, like there are games even against the Colts and the who am I thinking of right now? The Chargers, rather. Those are all games that the Patriots could potentially win and could go either way. Like I said, though, I think 3 more wins max, probably. This team is still very much injured. I think it all depends on momentum. To me, that's what it all comes down to. What is the mentality of this team? Because, Rob, I think we've seen ever since those soft comments that maybe it really did get to players. And we said that after the Jets game, okay, it got to them. Then against the Titans game, things didn't look good. The coaching staff didn't look good. They lose in overtime in a game that they very well could have won. And we said, you know what? It worked one game. Good job, Drake Maye. Maybe things didn't work out the way we thought. And then they come out here and get a pretty good win against the Chicago Bears. Now we're back to, okay, maybe just maybe those comments did do a little something, because say what you want, they've at least been competitive the last 3 games.
I think the biggest thing for me is just it's being able, like situationally being able to adapt, because we saw, what was it against what was the last game we just played?
The Titans.
The Titans. 1 minute and 48 seconds left in the half, and we decide we're not going to like try to move the ball at all. Really, just kind of played such a conservative way, and just whereas here going into the half with like what was it? I think it was like 35 seconds. We kind of really pushed the football. It seemed like we were trying to get as much points as we possibly can. And that's really just a difference. And really just limiting the penalties. Look, I don't think this team is as bad as the record shows. I don't think they're great. I don't think it's just a win here or there. Like, I think if we probably start the season with Drake Maye, maybe we're a 4 or 5 win team by now. But it's just really just making adjustments for one. And I feel like AVP is kind of bland with his offensive play calling in the beginning of the game, and just May needs to not take so many risky plays.
Yeah, I agree. And guys, before we get on with today's video, I do want to give a massive shout out to the sponsors of this video over at BetUS. Right now, when you guys sign up and use the promo code that you see on the screen, YouTube150, you'll be locked into an exclusive limited time offer of a 150% sign up bonus on your first deposit, followed by 125 on your next 2, all the way up to $2,000. BetUS can also give you a 200% crypto deposit bonus. They can also give you 10% back on your net losses 2 times a year and give you your very own personalized account manager. BetUS, they got the fastest payouts in the industry, a fast and easy deposit and withdrawal process, 24/7 personalized service, 365 days a year, live wagering on all major games, and they also have the best betting variety in the damn business. I'm talking not just about NFL games, not just player props, not just parlays, but I'm talking about NFL futures, the NFL draft, the NFL awards, who's going to win MVP, Coach of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, college football, basketball, baseball, horse racing, fighting, entertainment, politics, you name it, BetUS is going to have it. They have some of the coolest things that you could possibly bet on. If it's something that you're a little bit curious on, you're like, I think I could bet on that. Like, oh, who's going to win this Grammy, right? The Grammys are coming up. Who's going to win this one? Who's going to win that one? You can bet on that with BetUS. So massive shout out to them. Please play smart. Never bet more than you can afford to lose. But remember, supporting the sponsors that support the channel is a big reason why we're able to run this channel and give you guys all of the constant content that we do every single week. But Rob, I actually kind of wanted to go back here and I wanted to kind of talk about something you just started to talk about a little bit. And that was the whole coaching situation, because we started to think maybe they pick it up a little bit against the Jets. Then we see arguably the worst performance we've seen from this coaching staff last week against the Titans. Like, say what you want about Drake Maye, say what you want about that final pass, but situational football. And I've been saying that on my stream today. I've been saying that on Bleacher Report. It comes down to pivotal situational football, throwing against the wind, not understanding how weather's going to, implement or affect the game, not understanding the clock, not understanding time management, how to use your timeouts and when to do it. That is just some of the things that we're talking about here with Drake Maye. We're not talking about Alex Van Pelt trying to just run an offense that isn't working to his players' strengths. Against the Titans, you kept running outside zone, outside zone, outside zone, when your offensive line and your running back dictates running inside zone more consistently, and they just weren't doing that. Not playing to your players' strengths and trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, like I've been saying. That's what this offense has been trying to do. That's what the coaching staff has been trying to do. But maybe we saw that a little bit differently here today. So, Rob, I just want to real quick get your thoughts. I know you alluded to it a little bit just a couple of minutes ago, but kind of just your thought process here so far through 10 weeks about Drake Maye, about this coaching staff. And do you have, I should rather say, have your feelings changed about the coaching staff this week?
No. It's still, look at the offense and how they're running. It's very bad spacing. Like, I don't know. There was a play, I can't remember when it was, probably been earlier part of the third quarter. We had all our guys as kind of running a cluster, on the right side. It was just, there was no, like, it just looked like the space, like I've heard, I think it was Kurt Warner that came out and said it, and I kind of really agree with him. The spacing's terrible. I get it. You don't have the talent out there, but it just doesn't seem like the play calling is good on offense. How many times we have to run it up the middle before we figure out that that's not working anymore? Like, I would rather a jet sweep or something else. Like, hey, listen, we did a flea flicker play today that got, I think, 9 yards. It wasn't the prettiest looking play, but it worked. Things like that, I don't have any problem with. I have a problem with how we run the same plays over and over again. And it's like when you beat your head against a wall and expecting things to change. Especially, here's another thing, man. I am not, like, when are we going to start cleaning up these penalties? Because these are like drive-killing penalties. Thankfully, that wasn't today, but we just happened to go against one of the worst offenses in the NFL. The Chicago Bears have one of the worst third down offenses in the NFL. They also, I believe, have one of the worst defenses in the red zone, so you can actually score on them. We just happen to go against a team that's either equally or worse than we are. I don't know, man. The thing is, I will say this, though. The team that we have currently constituted out there doesn't look like a team that's defeated. It's the same thing that happened last year with Belichick, and it seems like it's kind of carried over. It doesn't look like a team that wants to give up no matter what the damn record is. And I like that. They're trying to compete. Every game we're trying to compete. You don't see anybody really hanging their heads too much. And that's something to look forward to going forward into next year. However, we need to capitalize on that now. Win as many games as you possibly can. We're out of the playoff race. I couldn't care less about draft position, because if you draft well, you'll kill the draft. I mean, we already see that it doesn't matter where you draft as long as you know the players you can draft.
Yeah. In fact, I'm going to actually share my thoughts on where this coaching staff is with the tweet that I had shared out earlier, because I was hyped today, man. I was hyped, and I was obviously hyped because of the win, but I was also hyped because we just finally saw this coaching staff learn and improve. And I'm not going to bump my chest yet, because we have to see, can it be consistent? What I would say is the coaching staff has been inconsistent. We see one game where we're like, okay, they changed it up. They've learned. Let's go. And then the next week, they do the exact opposite and they go back to their old ways. Drake Maye, obviously being a coach that has vocally said he believes in learning from your mistakes, that it is okay to make mistakes as long as you learn from them and you do not repeat your errors. That has been something that on his own part, he's not been very good at. So now that we've seen them reverse the roles, we've seen them kind of change up with some of the bad play calling and the bad situational football that we've seen in the past. Are they going to learn from the mistake and be better from here on out? Or next week they're going to have bad situational calls and not know how to call this offense and not know how to control the clock? That's going to be the question. But at least for this game, we saw the Patriots improve from what the biggest problem was last week against the Titans. And that was their 2-minute warning, their ability to get points up on the board before going into halftime. And if not that, at least be able to manage the clock to where you don't give the ball back to opposing teams, because that's been their problem. The Patriots in so many games this season have had opportunities in 2-minute drills to go down and either take the lead or shrink the margin of the loss, or not the loss, but rather the lead for the opposing offense. And the Patriots, they haven't done that. Not only that, but they haven't at least brought the clock down, because you want your team to either go down and score points, or you want at the very least them to, drain the clock and just send it into halftime. The Patriots over the last few matchups though, Rob, they've done the opposite. They've not put up points. They've not drained the clock. They'll go 3 and out, and they'll give the ball back to the opposing team and allow them to drive down the field in a 2-minute warning and put points up on the board. But today they learned. The game was tied 3-3. There was just about 2 minutes left, and the Patriots had the opportunity to take the lead going into halftime with the Chicago Bears having the ball to start the third quarter. And this is what I said. I said, now that's complimentary football by the Patriots. You punch it into the end zone with just over a minute left, force a punt by the Bears, and go down the field with roughly 50 seconds to get another 3 points. In just under 2 minutes, the Pats went from tied at 3-3 to making it 13-3. Massive improvement from what we've seen in recent weeks. It's also because of the lead that the Patriots took there that they were able to win this game. Why? Rob, we've said this. We know how the Patriots want to play games. Offensively, the Patriots, they want to go guns blazing in the first half, put up as many points as they possibly can, and then come out in the second half and just run the football. Dominate time of possession, drain the clock for as long as you can, take points when you can, but your goal in the second half is not necessarily to go guns a-blazing and put up all these points like you were trying to in the first half. Your goal in the second half is just to drain the clock and get out with the win. Keep the opposing offense off of the field. And again, that is exactly what we saw. That's what we also saw week 1 when they won against the Bengals, and what we saw week 2 when they went into overtime against the Seattle Seahawks.
I'm just happy that we at least tried. It was 35 seconds left. Drake Maye took a shot to Butte, which, by the way, I feel like he could have caught that. And he went back to him the next throw. But I feel like he could have caught that. It was right in the breadbasket. I don't know. Like, my biggest thing is this. I don't want AVP. Like, open up the damn playbook. We're out at the point now that the playbook should be opened up completely. The kid's been, what is this, his 5th game now as a starter? Let him actually sling it and open everything up, because we got to see the damn trick play today. Like, I don't want to see the same vanilla run the damn ball, a halfback dive up the damn middle.
We got to see Hasty get involved today, and Gibson had a pretty damn good game. I just want this offense to move the ball and not like do the same copy-paste plays 4 drives in a row. It seemed like we kind of opened up the playbook today, but here's my thing. We've seen this before. We do this 1 week, and the very next week we lay an egg. I want to see a little bit more consistency, and we don't have an easy opponent coming up, so.
Yeah, look, again, I'm not going to bump my chest about the coaching staff just yet. I need to see more. But it's at least an improvement. And from Alex Van Pelt, I liked that. Again, they worked towards a little bit more of the strengths of their offense. They ran a lot more inside zone rather than trying to bounce it to the outside a lot. That's not to say they didn't run outside zone at all, but I think the times in which they did run outside zone, we saw that for the most part, it really wasn't all that successful. Why? Because the Patriots they don't have good tackles right now. And that's why for me, hearing, Drake Maye say, oh, well, Vidarian Lowe could be your future at left tackle. I like Vidarian Lowe, but Vidarian Lowe and Demontre Jacobs are not game-changing tackles. You can have massive improvements from those guys. You see Ramondre Stevenson bounce it to the left side. You bounce it to the right side, going outside zone. And he, for the most part, isn't able to get anything because those guys are not holding their blocks. They're not getting out into space. They're not pushing anybody to make a hole for Ramondre. And Ramondre's basically being asked to just bulldozer through 2-3 defenders, stiff arm guys to the ground and make something happen after the catch. That's the problem. And that's why, again, you do still need 2 tackles. And maybe Caden Wallace can be the right side. Maybe, we don't know. He's definitely a much better run blocker than DeMontre Jacobs and Vidarian Lowe put together. But that's why you do still need some help there. But I like that Alex Van Pelt understood the strengths of this team and said, well, our tackles aren't going to be able to run block. So what do? We are going to run it between the guards. We trust our interior a little bit more. And that's where they started to get some production. That's where they started to get, 4, 5+ yards on the ground constantly with Ramondre Stevenson, is because they at least knew where they were going to have some type of success, versus in recent weeks, again, they're just trying to fit a square peg into a round hole.
Well, now my audio should be fixed.
Yeah, you sound good.
No, what the biggest thing is, I hit my mic, and every time I do that, it switches back to the other setting. It's so annoying. Yeah. Let's just hope we put up a dub against the damn Rams, man, because that's the biggest thing. Like, we're not consistent enough, man. It just seems every damn week we will put up a great performance. I think it's the past like 4 games. We start off the game really fast, except for this last one, and then we fizzle out. I want consistency, and don't put all your plays out in the first half, and then I don't know if I'm talking in a circle, but it just gets frustrating that I feel like it doesn't look that there's really any diversity to this damn playbook.
No, yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, again, I think when it comes to Alex Van Pelt, part of me wonders, was he brought here to develop the quarterback, to make sure you select the right quarterback?
And he's done a hell of a job. And he's done a hell of a job. We can't take that away from him. But I wouldn't be against him. Maybe, I don't want to say demotion. Maybe you can make him an assistant head coach or something. We've seen Belichick do that. Keep him on the roster so he can still develop May. But I just think offensive play calling is just not for him. But going back to the whole offensive line thing, maybe I'm in the minority for this. I don't think we need to get like maybe a Will Campbell or Kelvin Banks in the first round. Maybe trade back from where we are, whatever we finished in the draft, and go get a playmaker. Because so many times where the guys are just not getting separation, or they're dropping footballs. We've seen this way too many times. And I think if you get a guy that's really a field stretcher, we'll see May really chuck the football.
For me, and chat, you guys let us know in the comment section. If you're watching this as a replay, let us know in the comment section below. We really want to hear from you guys and your thoughts on this, because it's an interesting take. I've been somebody who's very much been about the mindset of you don't go a playmaker. You do have to go offensive line. I'm coming around more to Ted McMillan. By the way, that's all. I want to make that clear. I'm coming around to the idea of Ted McMillan a little bit more. And I'm not fully there, but I'm at least coming around to the idea and maybe accepting that could be an option. Anybody else other than Ted McMillan, for me, is a no. And right now, I would still say go tackle, because, again, you do still need a game-changing tackle. And I think some people are looking at the offensive line and they're saying, Drake Maye's come in and it's looked a lot better, so maybe it's not as bad as we think. I think Drake Maye's making the offensive line look a lot better. I don't think we need to look at sacks per se. We need to look at pressure rates. Also, just strictly watch the game. There are a lot of times he's off platform, making a throw, throwing the ball away. He's making magic happen. His numbers from when he's pressured versus in a clean pocket are also very, very different. Now, he can make plays in the blitz. He can still make things happen. But just like any quarterback, your numbers are going to be better when you are in a clean pocket. So I do agree he needs better receivers, guys who are going to catch the ball and whatnot. But I also think you want to launch the ball down the field. How many times have we seen Drake Maye launch the ball down the field with pressure in his face? What would he look like if he just had actual time to sit there in the pocket with a clean pocket, get through his full mechanics and full reads, and make a beautiful, accurate throw where he has time to actually make that throw and he's not pressured to do so?
Here's my rebuttal. And I'm for either way we go with it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I hope we address it in the free agency, or we trade for somebody, which, left tackles, you don't just trade for a franchise left tackle. Hopefully, was it Stanley on the damn Ravens somehow hits free agency, which is unlikely. But hopefully somebody hits free agency so we can address that. But here's my biggest thing. If you do get a guy that's a field stretcher, you can't load the box. So maybe you won't have so much pressure on your offensive line. And that way he will get more time because you have to put a body on that guy. But I see either way, I'm fine with either one. I'm kind of on the fence. I don't know if I really want it. I'm up in the air with it. I could go either way and I would still be happy but we've heard so many things about how this tackle class is not that great. That's a risk for me, man. I was watching some Will Campbell tape last night. He looks really good, but I feel like if you got a guy that's pretty damn fast, he can go around him. And Will Campbell is also a penalty machine. His arms are significantly shorter. I don't know. Kelvin Banks is a guy I would lean towards, but even then, I'm like, are these guys going to be worth drafting? Let's say we fall at 5. Are they worth drafting at 5? I don't know. So that's where my reservations come, and that's why I wouldn't be against getting a wide receiver 1. But maybe go get a T. Higgins in free agency so I could shut up about trying to get a guy in the first round.
Well, hey, we might be here. And we might be saying, well, Kelvin Banks and all these offensive tackles, Will Campbell, they don't deserve to go top 5. And the league might say the exact same thing. But then you know what the Patriots are going to do? The Patriots are going to sit there. If they're at 5 or they're at 3 per se, they're going to trade down. And then they're going to get one of those guys. And I think that's what makes it more realistic is the fact that the Patriots are going to want to trade down. And if you want Ted McMillan, like you going to need like the top 5 pick in order to get Ted McMillan.
And here's my thing, though. How many third-round picks do we have? 2? We got one from the Matthew Judon trade, and we're probably going to be at the beginning of the second round. So getting back in the first to possibly get one of the receivers that we're trying to eyeball at, and we've seen players that we thought, hey, listen, there's no way a Zay Flowers is going to drop to the end of the first round. There's no way a JSN is going to drop to the end of the first round, and then it happens. Because us as fans don't see how the NFL scouts see. And then maybe a Ted McMillan, who is a hell of a – I already comped him to like a Mike Evans. But he's not really much of a separator, though. He's really that guy that goes up and gets it. So maybe he falls more than we would think. Then you take that second and third round pick, trade up, get back into the first round, and make a move for it. So then now you get your tackle and you get your wide receiver.
Yeah, the way that I see it, it's also very too soon. Like right now, it's a lot of he says, she says. Things can flip completely by what me and Rob are saying by the time that April comes. I mean, Will Campbell could be a top 5 guy, a top 10 guy, go have an injury. Now he's a third round pick. Like there's a lot of football to still be played. There's an off season. There's a combine. Like there's so much to still happen with these guys. But what I think is going to happen, and this is just me purely guessing, I think that the Patriots are going to want to trade down. They're going to want to get extra draft capital. Let's keep in mind, Elliot Wolf said the best way to hit on the draft is to have more opportunities in the draft, also known as having more picks. They were really debating on trading down last year, but they wanted to get their quarterback in Drake Maye. Now they did so. Now they can trade down. I think that they're going to end up trading down from wherever they are. They're going to get an offensive tackle, whether that's Will Campbell or Banks. They're going to shore up the offensive line. And then they're going to go and get that wide receiver 1, that veteran guy in free agency or via trade. Those guys are available via trade every single year. There were guys available at the trade deadline. There's always guys that are available in free agency. And there's a name that I've heard going around, and this isn't a report or anything like that, but if the Bills don't extend Amari Cooper, and I'm not saying I love this idea because he's older, but I wonder if in this system, that is a guy, if he hits free agency, that they look to bring aboard. Or if they look to bring aboard a guy like T. Higgins, say, hey, look, we're not perfect right now, but you know what we do have? We have money, and we're going to give that to you. You know what else we have? We have a star quarterback that here, look at all this tape we have on him, can make magic. You're going to be number 1 in our rotation, and you're a deep threat. Drake loves to bomb the ball down the field. You're going to get opportunities to make big and highlight plays. So now you have opportunities, you have money. That's what I think is going to happen because, like you alluded to, Rob, It is really hard to get good offensive linemen. Those guys don't hit free agency. It does not happen. They're not available for trade. It's not a discussion. It is easier to get a number one wide receiver than it is to get an actual tackle. And I wonder if they're going to view that in the same way. Because let's keep in mind, too, everybody's saying, well, Drake Maye needs receivers, and these guys are dropping the ball. I'm not arguing with you. It's true. But we're not just talking about Drake Maye. We're not just talking about getting more out of the passing game. We're also talking about getting more out of the running game, out of Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson that you made a big investment on this offseason. And how do you get the most out of Drake Maye and the running backs? You shore up the offensive line.
And my biggest thing with this going into free agency, going to the draft next year, I look at this roster, I look at this receiving core, and everyone becomes expendable because you have how much cap space? I'm sorry. I don't put my heart into players. Kendrick Bourne, there's rumors. I know I saw your comment. There's rumors that he was benched because of the reason of letting the young guys really get more play. Whether it was truthful or not, regardless, whatever. Because that would make sense why Osborne would have been out there and getting snaps. But
we're going to talk about that situation when we get to the receivers.
My biggest thing, man, throw as many dartboards. I get it. Everybody loves Douglas. Everybody loves KB. Here's my biggest thing. Do you guys want to win games? Do you want to try to get as many talented? Listen, if we could spend $30 million on two wide receivers, I don't care. Get the talent in the building. As far as I see an old man mob. Should the Patriots be worried about T. Higgins and being injured a lot this season? Here's my biggest thing about that. I don't think he's actually that injured. He's trying to secure the bag, y'all. Like it's chess, not checkers. The guy doesn't want to go out there, get a significant injury, and then cost himself money. He did cost himself money by sitting, but I don't think he's as injured as everybody makes him out to be.
Yeah, no, I agree. And sorry, I was reading something about this whole Kendrick Bourne situation. I'm going to mention it now. I'm going to, you know what? Let's talk about it quick. Before we do that, big shout out to Diehard Pats fan, $10 donation, dropped a $10 donation in our live watch party. Big time supporter. We could not be here without you guys. We could not be here running this channel, doing this full time, giving you the best content on all social medias, including YouTube, doing live watch parties every single week, doing everything we do at Roundtable Sports. If it was not for your guys' support, just simple things like watching the videos, liking the videos, commenting, sharing, free ways help support us massively. And if you have the opportunity or you just want to go that extra mile and donate to the channel like Die Hard did, it really goes such a long way. As always, if you do donate, your comment, your question, your concern, it gets thrown up here on the screen, and you get immediate response and immediate priority. So Diehard Pats fan comes in and says, I also wish we could be more consistent, but hey, a win is a win, and I'm happy for that dub. Exactly. At the end of the day, if you're a Chiefs fan, are you crying because you're undefeated, but you're not winning as confidently as you would like to? No, if you're undefeated, you're undefeated. A win is a win, a loss is a loss. I don't care if the Patriots played the Chiefs and they lost in overtime. I'm not here happy that we lost. A win is a win, an L is an L. But, Rob, I want to get into the Kendrick Bourne situation, and I was going to wait till we got to the wide receivers, but we need to talk about it. We need to talk about it because I'm trying to understand it. So they apparently told Kendrick Bourne yesterday. So they told him yesterday that he wasn't going to be playing because, quote, they wanted to get the younger guys going. Kendrick Bourne, still the first one in the locker room, smile on his face. Obviously, KB coming off of his best game on the season so far against the Titans, finally building that rapport within the new system, the new rapport with Drake Maye, a new quarterback with him. So it looked like this was finally the start of Kendrick Bourne. And from what the early snap numbers were, let me bring this up here. From what the early numbers were, if I can, dude, iOS just got a new update. If you guys have an iPhone, you know what I'm talking about. It is so much harder to access.
Seems like an every week thing with the iOS.
Dude, it's so annoying. It's so hard to access your phone now. But from what I've seen, and I don't know where it went, but here it is. So the unofficial snap count was Kayshon Boutte with 62, KJ Osborne with 29, DeMario Douglas with around 27, Jalen Pulk 26, Javon Baker 4, and Kendrick Bourne 0. So Kendrick Bourne wasn't on the field at all. But tell me this. If you're trying to get the young guys going, why don't you put Tyquan on the field? Like, how does that make sense? So if you're trying to get the younger guys going, why aren't you playing Javon Baker more? Jalen Pulk more? Why is Tyquan inactive? You said you want to get the young guys going. Go ahead. Why was KJ Osborne active in that case? What they're saying just makes absolutely zero sense. And it makes you wonder if there was some disciplinary action and that was why. But even in that case, you think something would come out. And Kendrick Bourne isn't the type of guy that does anything to require discipline. So why they made this move, it's mind-boggling. It makes no sense. I think it's hurting this team. I think it's hurting Drake Maye and this Patriots offense that you're going out there and you're trusting KJ Osborne, who you tried to trade at the trade deadline, couldn't. You're about to just release the guy because he's not performing the way that you expected. Javon Baker hasn't done anything yet. I mean, you're still trying to give him some opportunities, but he hasn't done anything yet. He had a really, really rough offseason. Jalen Polk drops everything that goes his way. I don't understand how playing those guys over Kendrick Bourne, who is starting to be a lot better. He's starting to be reliable. And for everybody getting on Kendrick Bourne's coming off a season-ending injury. It takes some players an entire year to come back from that injury. Also, he didn't practice at all this offseason. He is building a rapport with Drake Maye, a brand new quarterback, live during games as each game goes on. And he's 5 games now into the season, something like that? Not only that, but he's playing in a new system he's never been a part of. So he's building a rapport with the quarterback live in games. He is learning and adapting to a new offensive scheme live in games. And guess what? Kendrick Bourne, despite all this, has still shown me more this season than Javon Baker, than Tyquan Thornton, than Jalen Polk. And he's finally building, I said, a rapport with Drake Maye. And after that, you take him out of the game? 0 snaps. It makes no sense to me. They find new ways every single week to hurt this guy.
The biggest indictment in all of this is the fact that KJ Osborne posted something to his story about possibly wanting out of here in some capacity, or that's what we've been hearing. And then you have a guy that really loves being here. KB, look, people know how I feel about it. I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't have signed him in the offseason. Regardless, he's here. He is an infectious leader. And then you reward him by putting KJ Osborne out there, who has done jack, you know what. Tyquan Thornton being on the roster, honestly, at this point, I think he's just a body. It's just in case someone gets injured. I don't get it. What if we're talking about putting all the young guys out there? Why isn't Javon Baker getting some turn? He can't be that bad. We've seen what he can do in college. The kid can play. Even if it's just stretching the field, like we've seen him during the preseason. He was so close to securing the catch. Are we just putting him in the doghouse because of that? Look, just have him run straight. Something. Because it would be that much more important than what KJ Osborne has done thus far. Don't say one thing and then do another. Or here's the thing. Just don't say anything, because it seems like this coaching staff says a little too much sometimes. Just don't talk. Because as far as I'm concerned, yes, KB gets a pass. I don't care what he does for the rest of the season. ACL injuries usually take about a year to recover from. But KJ Osborne has absolutely no excuse as to why he's playing like dog shit. I don't know. They say they want to get these young guys turned, and then I see KJ Osborne taking snaps from other people, and we've already seen like he doesn't want to be here. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and I like KJ Osborne. I mean, last week it was DeMario Douglas, I believe it was last week, with the one-handed catch, and KJ Osborne's on the sideline hyping him up. We don't really see that from Jalen Polk. We don't really see that from Javon Baker. We don't really see that from Tyquan Thornton. So, like, I still like KJ. I still believe in him. But when we're talking about a young rookie quarterback, you think the best way at helping him is by giving him young developing receivers who just aren't ready. It goes back to this idea of fitting a square peg into a round hole. Why are we trying to force something that is just not fitting right now, that is not working out right now? This team is so codependent on these young players. They are so codependent on this 2024 draft class that if it doesn't work out, they're going into panic mode and they don't know what to do. It's like this rebuild is all based off of hitting on all of those players in the 2024 draft. Tell me why Layden Robinson hasn't looked good this season. And instead of just sitting him down and saying, we'll readdress this later on, we will play you if injuries happen, but right now, you're not doing good enough to dictate playing. They still said, we are going to shove you into a role that you're not ready for. We're going to make Mike Onwenu play on the left side, which he's only done marginally in 2021.
Oh my God, when I heard about that.
Just to put Layden Robinson at right guard. And also, we're not playing City So. City So can be your left guard. If left guard doesn't look good with Michael Jordan, try City So. For the love of God. Michael Onwenu is a right guard. He can be an all-pro right guard. Put him there. Leave him there. Build continuity for the love of God. But they want these rookies to be so successful straight off the bat. They want them to work.
They're experimenting. They're experimenting too much. And it makes
They don't care. They don't care about how it's going to affect the rest of the roster.
It affects the people from the outside looking in and seeing that that's dysfunction because you don't know. You can't have Onwenu play all over the offensive line. The guy's like, it's not like riding a bike. I mean, Caden Wallace even said it before the season, or it was an Okafor. You can't just play one way and decide, hey, listen, I'm literally gonna play in reverse the other way. It's not apples to apples. Just keep whatever continuity. Hey, look, it looks pretty good. Let's not change it up too much because it just seems like they're trying to be too cute. Well, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Drake Maye was sacked, what, once today? For the love of God, if you put Michael Onwenu at left guard next week, I'm going to lose it.
Yeah, like I need to see the numbers and all too from player to player to really understand just how it was, whether it was good or bad. But I just don't understand the move. I really don't. I didn't understand it when they drafted Layden Robinson, and I thought maybe depth, maybe they just don't like City So. But again, if you're pressing for a left guard, try City So. You're not giving him the opportunity. You're not trying with him. If Layden Robinson isn't ready, just sit him because forcing him into a role that he's not ready for sometimes can be catastrophic. It can be worse rather than good. And right now, they're not just doing that at guard with Layden Robinson, but they're doing it with the wide receivers too. You're trying to force, Jalen Pulk into this role. You're kind of forcing Javon Baker into this role a little bit. I mean, I guess you can kind of say maybe, give him more opportunities. Don't give him, I guess that's really a little bit more of a controversial take. But when you're taking good players off the field, a player in Kendrick Bourne that you just signed to a 3-year deal this offseason, then what is the point? If you thought, hey, we don't want a guy with this injury problem. Hey, we don't want a guy who's 29 years old. You knew all of these things when you signed him to a multi-year extension. And they tried to trade him when they wanted Ayuk. We heard trade rumors during the trade deadline. How come when you give this guy a 3-year deal, you're immediately giving up on him, even after he shows you potential? Drake Maye needs veterans on the field. And you look at who is producing for him. Kayshon Bouttie's finally starting to produce a little bit. He's a second-year player. DeMario Douglas, second-year player. He's producing a little bit. But the guys that I feel like are consistently producing is these running backs out of the backfield and these tight ends. Your veteran tight end tandem of Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper. Drake Maye is young. He needs guys surrounding him that are going to know where to be, that are veterans. Yes, you want young players getting involved so that you can have a future there, but you also want Drake Maye to be comfortable and confident. You don't want to ask this kid to be a magician every single week and to excel the offense past its limitations immediately. And a lot of times, giving him a veteran supporting cast can really help him with that development and feeling a lot more comfortable. You have a questionable offensive line. You have zero run game. And now you're taking away the veteran wide receivers to put a bunch of guys on the field that can't catch the ball or just don't know strictly where to be. They just find ways to hurt him, and I don't understand why they're doing this.
My biggest problem is this. What allegiance do you have to KJ Osborne? He's here on a 1-year deal. I get it. You said you wanted to get all these young guys involved, and you've been benching KB because of that. Okay, I can get that. Whatever. But why you don't owe nothing to KJ Osborne, especially when there's rumors that you may even cut him. It doesn't make sense to me. He's essentially taking snaps away from young guys. Keishon Boutte starting to really come. I think honestly he's the best receiver on the team right now.
Yeah, I would say him or
I'm happy.
Mario.
I'm happy with how he's starting to develop. Douglas, I feel like we're not making him run the right routes, or we're not targeting. I don't know how the spacing's awful. I'm not gonna call it as I
hit him
see it.
underneath and let him run.
Yeah, you really just get the ball in his hand. And whatever happened to jet sweeps? Like what?
Yeah, I mean, they ran a really cool play today, I will say. I mean, props to Alex Van Pelt for that jet sweep to DeMario Douglas, and then Douglas gives it to KJ Osborne, and then Osborne gives it to Maye, and Maye sets up the screen to DeMario Douglas. That's a play call that I liked. I mean, it netted them 7 yards. After all that, only 7 yards, but like, hey, beautiful play call, and I'll take it.
But it took the defense off guard because we're not running straight up the damn middle or doing it like just the same crap, an outside zone run. Our runs are so just the same. Am I wrong? Like, I don't see any really like anything mixing it up. Where's the RPOs? Where there? Here's the thing. AVP came out and said that Drake Maye needs to work on the play action. How about you work on your play calling first before you be so critical? I don't think the play action is bad at all if we did it enough. I don't know.
So from what I've heard, Alex Van Pelt feels like they don't really have much of an RPO game because of their inability to run the ball. And that goes back to the offensive line. And I wonder if they're forcing Layden Robinson in there, not just to develop him, but maybe because they like him as a run blocker. Good run blocker, just not a good pass blocker at all and wildly inconsistent. And I wonder if that's why they're shifting up this O-line so much, is because they're trying to get more of a run game so that they can open up the RPO game.
I will say this. There's one play. I can't remember what quarter it is. I have to look back in my notes. Jaheim Bell came in on it was, I cannot remember what damn drive. It might have been the end of the third quarter. Jaheim Bell came in on one play. And because of the block, and I'm so surprised he did this, which makes me think, why not go back to the fullback set, have him in the backfield with one of these running backs, and just have his ability to just be able to be a guy that's a threat out the backfield, like a two-back set. But he made a block to get Ramondre Stevenson, which was 1 yard short. It was second and 1 after he made that block. He made an incredible block on I forget what damn player it was, but get him on the field more. Like, what you say you want to get the young guys out there. That right there showed me, that one play showed me that this kid has something.
Yeah, and Jodo comes in here with, I think, an interesting comment. He says, so left tackle to right tackle, Vidarian Lowe, City So, Ben Brown, Michael Onwenu, DeMontre Jacobs. I wouldn't even, if you really, really want Layden Robinson, that's okay. You know, whatever. I understand it. I might not agree with it, but I understand it. At the very least, see what you have in City So, who was really good in the second half of last year. And if you want Layden Robinson in, put him at right guard and put Onwenu at right tackle.
What are we doing
But
with
don't
Cole
put him
Strange?
back over to left guard.
What are we doing with Cole Strange? I apologize, my dog's crying in the background.
I mean, you're good.
What are we doing with Cole Strange? Because we already floated the whole possibility of having him at center. Here's the thing, though. Ben Brown has been pretty damn good, so I don't know if I want to do that.
He's been rough the last few weeks.
I said pretty damn good. I didn't say great. But,
he's come back down to earth the last like 2-3 weeks.
Here's the thing, though. Do I want to disrupt that continuity again by putting out Cole Strange? So,
but you know what, Rob? They're doing it anyway.
Here's my thing, though. You have a guy in Cole Strange who is perfect for the zone scheme, the zone runs. Why aren't we just where is he at as far as like health goes right now? Because at this point, I don't care. We're 3-8 right now, 3-7. Get him some damn play. If he's healthy, obviously.
Supposedly he's getting close. And that was even a report that came out maybe like a few days ago too, updating, saying they feel like he's getting closer and closer and closer. So he's trending in the right direction. He said he fully expects to play football in some capacity this season. Now, how many games, we don't know, but we are expecting to see him. And yes, when he does come back, he's a young player. He's shown promise. It's just really health that's the problem. So when he comes back, yeah, try him at guard. try him at center, see what you have. But my question is this: if they are forcing Layden Robinson into a role, how do you get Michael Onwenu and Cole Strange both on the field? We've floated the idea around about center. We don't know if they'll actually do that, though. That's the thing.
I don't know if I would do it just because, like, that's the interior of your, that's like the very interior of your offensive line. I don't know if I want to disrupt that too much. So yeah, I wouldn't be against maybe having him at left guard. Just get him out there. The guy's perfect in zone schemes. It's just the biggest thing is he's not a bad player. He just needs to stay healthy. That's it. He's what I think he put on either. I believe he put on some muscle in the offseason. So just get him out there in any capacity, because it's. I'm not saying it's gonna be an upgrade. I just want to know what we have in him. We drafted him in the first round. I want to see what we have in him.
Yeah, that's fair. Daniel also comes in here and says, any news of Barmore coming back this week? Yeah, he's not coming back this week. He hasn't even returned to practice. So that's going to be one of those situations where I could see a situation where they want him back at practice for a certain amount of time before he even plays, because he hasn't played football in months. And maybe that's the same thing with Cole Strange, where they could come back to practice, but it might take 2 weeks of practice before they come back. When they do come back, that 21-day window is essentially activated. And so they only have so long to bring those guys back. But I think because of their unique situations and not playing football in so long, especially a health situation with Barmore, they are going to wait more than just a week. So, like, if we hear that Barmore returns to practice on Wednesday, I don't think Barmore would play in week 11. But nonetheless, I don't think Barmore is returning yet. I still think we are a few weeks out. We did get a good update on him. I did make a video on that in that Barmore situation, so make sure you guys check that out if you haven't already, where I kind of give an update on what we've heard. But I wouldn't expect him to come back this week. I do still think that if he does come back this season, we're still a few weeks away.
I'm going to be honest with you, I wouldn't even rush him back at all. Like, if we could just hold him over to next, like, blood clots is, I mean, I want him to be 100%. When he got pulled over, if I'm not mistaken, he had the medicine inside his car. So obviously, even at that point, he was still kind of far away.
He's on blood thinners right now. I know that.
Regardless, I don't want to take any chances with him. Like, why risk it? He is one of the four, I guess, pillars of this team. You got what? Christian Barmore, you got Drake Maye, you got Christian Gonzalez, and I think Ramondre Stevenson. So those are the four pillars of this team. And if it means I have to sit out one of them so we can preserve the future, I don't mind it. Especially with Christian Barmore and the blood clots. I am in no rush if he doesn't even come back at all this season, because what is he playing for?
For me, I don't want Barmore coming back unless he's 120%. I don't care if he's 95, 98. I want him 100% for reasons that you just said. But if he is healthy, I do want him back in some capacity. I don't need him to play like the second half of the season, but if we can get him back for like the final 3 games, ideally I would like him back in some capacity just so he has football in him. You know, he can kind of come back, start adapting so that in 2025, week 1, he can hit the ground running. You know, that way he's not slowly coming back in 2025, because we still have to see what they do in free agency and whatnot. But as a Patriots fan, I expect them to compete next year. And I'm not saying like compete for the Super Bowl, but I expect them to compete for a playoff spot, one of the last seeds in the playoffs, like a wild card.
Why not? How many close games have we had this season with this terrible team? And now you have what, $135 million? The only problem is you're going to be competing with the damn Commanders for free agents, because they're a team, but they're a little more of a sexy destination. And look, I said this in the damn offseason. Adam Peters would have been a hell of a damn person to bring in here, but no reason to harp on that too much. But that's why I'm saying Drake Maye's got to put out as much tape as possible, and he's really got to start limiting those turnovers and because I don't know where he was throwing that football today.
Yeah, well, let's get into Drake Maye. What did you think about his performance?
Look, man, I posted a video on Instagram on my opinion of Drake Maye so far this season. I don't know so far this season, but just in general. Drake Maye, of the quarterbacks I think that are in this draft, I think he's the best quarterback in this draft. Call me a homer or whatever. I just think if the situations were flopped and they had to deal with what he's had to deal with, and it's not pretty. He's obviously hasn't really, but I feel like I feel like he thinks he needs to play hero ball entirely too much, and that's why he kind of makes the mistakes he does. The interception he threw today, I can't really make an excuse for him. That really just was boneheaded. I think maybe he thought he could loft it over the guy and just kind of underthrew it. But this season so far, and this game in general, I think he's played pretty solid, man. I mean, really, like, what does he have to work with? It's just garbage. I think Keishon Butte has played better, but like Keishon Butte on any other team is what, a wide receiver 3, 4.
I'll say
All these receivers. All these receivers. Let's take our allegiance out of it. I apologize, guys. My puppy. Let's take our allegiance to this team out of it. What player on this roster right now is better, as far as wide receiver core goes, is better than anything that was on the other side of the field today? Can you tell me if we have a receiver that's better than DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, or, I mean, you could probably make Cole Kmet because I think Hunter Henry's better.
Oh, yeah. I'll give him that. But all three of those wide receivers you listed, that might be the best wide receiver trio in the NFL. Not just that, but all three of those guys can be number ones.
I don't want to hear, like, the damn people on TV was like, oh, his offensive line's not great. Are you kidding me? Greg Bedard, all these guys are making excuses all week about how, like, oh, yeah, the Bears are going to run. They're going to beat the brakes off the damn Patriots. So Caleb Williams is far superior quarterback. If he's such a far superior quarterback, especially with the talent that they have there, shouldn't they have beaten the brakes off us today? I don't get it. Like, this is why I think so highly of Drake Maye, is because this kid is literally having to put this team on his back to a level that I don't think has ever been done. Because he doesn't have an offensive line. He has no run game. He has a rookie offensive coordinator. He has a rookie head coach. His defense played good today. Don't get me wrong, they played good today, but they have not played good pretty much the whole year. And we're still in games. Other than maybe the Jaguars game and the Jets game earlier in the season, we've been in games. So just get this kid some damn talent, and I think he'll flourish.
Yeah, that interception was frustrating. I'm not going to lie. I was sitting there. The Patriots were driving down the field. They were putting together some really good plays. They were like about the 50, roughly the 50. So they were in a position to start putting up some points. And Drake Maye rolls out, throws on the run, and he tries to hit Austin Hooper on the sidelines. And it was the linebacker for the Bears. Right behind him was Hooper. And then right behind Hooper was another defender. So he's kind of trying to sandwich this ball in. I saw what he was trying to do. There was definitely some space between the linebacker and Austin Hooper to where if Drake Maye could just fit the ball over the linebacker, maybe could have hit Austin Hooper. But it's plays like that where he has to understand if he's not sure, he cannot throw the ball. You can't just say, all right, well, you know what? Let's see, because I might have an opportunity to make a play here. It could go bad, but it could go great. Let me be a superhero. And the ball had no chance. It was right to the linebacker. No chance. Terrible interception at an inopportune time. And really, that lead should have been larger. Like, if he doesn't throw that interception, the Patriots were setting themselves up for at least an easy 3 points. So he's got to be better there. He has, or rather is, the most turnover-worthy quarterback in the NFL right now. We've said it every single week so far. I mean, Josh Allen, like, good and bad. We've compared him to Josh Allen, both in the good and the bad. And this is where the bad comes in. Josh Allen, man, he has terrible interceptions at times, but he plays superhero football that gets them back into the game. And that's what we're seeing from Drake Maye. I just think he needs to calm down with the superhero football mindset. He needs to take what's given to him. And for the most part, he's good. Like, there's a lot of plays where you're like, yes, Drake, that's the right decision. Yes, Drake, that's a really good accuracy. Yes, Drake, that was the right read. But then he'll screw it up the next play and, like, literally just hand the ball off to the defender. And he can't do that because there's going to be games where even one interception, one turnover is going to prove to be costly. And even if you look at it, it was costly last week against the Titans. It was very costly against CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans. That's a big reason why we got blown out. He has to be better. And that's a big reason why they brought in Jacoby Brissett to be the first quarterback and kind of be the bridge, was because he's one of the least turnover-worthy quarterbacks of all time. So I understand what he's trying to do, but it's kind of like, and I made this comparison last week, Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston, when he was with the Bucs, very good quarterback, would lead the NFL in passing yards, passing touchdowns. He was dynamic. But that team wouldn't go to the playoffs. They'd be just out. They wouldn't make a playoff run because those interceptions would be so costly. And I understand some people will say, well, you know, he had a bad game against the Texans in his first game. He threw an interception here today, had some turnovers last week. Like, you know, it's whatever. It's not that bad. He should have had another 2 or 3 interceptions against the Jags, and they were dropped. There are a lot of times that Drake Maye has turnover-worthy plays, and the plays just aren't made by the defensive players. Again, a reason why Drake Maye is the most turnover-worthy quarterback currently in the NFL, and he has to bring that down. Because you saw when Josh Allen was able to make that difference here in 2024, the trajectory and the difference that it made on that Buffalo Bills team. And he's a rookie, so it's okay. But I'm saying that when talking about where he needs to improve, that's the part.
Here's the thing, and it's kind of good that it's happening now, because there's a season that's no expectations. The kid, I mean, there was a ball that he threw to Hunter Henry in the end zone that literally went behind him. That should have been
should have been intercepted. Exactly, yeah.
But look, man, he's still young. I think personally, I think he's miles ahead of where Josh Allen was at this point of his career. I'm sorry, Josh Allen miles. So but that goes to show you that, like, this kid's ceiling is, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think is limitless. He'll figure it out. I'm happy it's happening now instead of down the road. So he's still young. He'll figure it out. Get him the talent. He won't. I feel like he got a little bit happy feet on that interception. Or you ever throw you ever play basketball and you just shoot a basketball and the ball kind of like slips out of your hand a little bit? Maybe you kind of underestimate how you throw it. Maybe that could have happened. I'm not going to make any excuse for that throw. That throw should have been made in the first place. I think he should have got a little bit more air under it and lobbed it, or throw it out of bounds completely. But he's 22 years old. The kid's going to be a top 5 quarterback if we surround him with the right talent, or even the best quarterback in football eventually. I feel that confident about his ability, but it all rests on what we do to elevate him, because I'm glad that this is happening in some way, that he's having to deal with the low of the lows, that when the higher the highs, he's going to know how to deal with situations where it's challenging. He's already had to deal with that. So we'll see.
Sounds like the Jets game isn't going very well. Just putting that out there.
Can somebody get me that clip and send it to me on Instagram or something? I just need a laugh.
Oh my gosh.
What is it?
6-31. Wow. I didn't think it was gonna be that bad.
Didn't Jets fans say they were back or something?
Yeah, look, I picked the Jets this week just so they'd be off my back.
It'll also be nice. Just pick them every week.
Yeah, I'll pick the Jets every single week just so that Jets fans are happy with me. Yeah, just to jinx it. Yeah, they got wiped this week. But real quick too, I do want to get your thoughts, kind of pivoting back to the wide receivers. Jalen Pulk gets that touchdown. He didn't do anything else. 1 target in this game, 1 reception, a 2-yard touchdown. It was nothing. It was just it was a good game plan. It was executed correctly. It got him into space. He goes from blocking to going out and receiving, and he just makes an easy play. But maybe, do you think that this is just what he needed? He needed the confidence. He needed to go out there and make a play, because, Rob, he hasn't been the same since, ironically, that touchdown that was called back against the Dolphins, the game-winning touchdown, which it's a stupid call, but by rule, it was called correctly. It wasn't a touchdown. Although it was dumb. Okay. Yeah, it was the NFL touchdown. That was the NFL rule, but hasn't been the same since. Do you think that this could get him back on track to being the guy we saw in the offseason and being the guy that we saw the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season before that Miami game?
How many times did I say that, like, he's still a rookie? Let's not, like, jump the gun on it. Like, let him develop. He's going through the only thing I would be critical about is his mouth. That's it. And his social media presence. He needs to be better on that. But we haven't seen much of that lately, so that's already a step in the right direction. Yes, 100%. Even if there's a catch here and there, just to get the hands on it, the football in his hands. So yes, He was celebrating. His teammates were happy he got a touchdown. Yes, this could be 100% a step in the right direction. Here's another thing. That Bears defense is very good. They're just not good in the red zone. Like, they are very good. I don't think people understand the defense
they're
we
just
went
not good
against
against the run. They have like the 8th best coverage defense. They have a good defensive line. They have a good pass rush. They just don't have a good run defense. I think they're like the 12th overall ranked defense, 20th ranked run defense. But like I said, 8th when it comes to coverage. So they're a good defense.
I mean, Tyreek Stevenson and Jalen Johnson is one of the best cornerback duos in football. So, like, they have a really good defense. And I'm just happy he got a touchdown. Now let's build off of it. I think that should be something that builds off. He should probably be smiling. He seemed pretty happy when he did. You know how they do that post-game thing where they have the camera in front of their face, like uncomfortably close and talking about how the Patriots won? Well, he was in that video. So it's something to build off of. I'm happy about it.
Let's go ahead and pivot to the defense before we get on to these Patreon members. And defense absolutely balled out today. In fact, I want to show
9 sacks. 9 sacks.
Where is it? It's not this one.
9 sacks.
Here we go. So the Patriots defense today.
Jesus.
Patriots defense today, 9 sacks, 21 quarterback pressures, 142 total yards allowed. That's on the air and on the ground. And 1 for 14 on third down. The Patriots, who were rough coming into this game, they're one of the worst third down defenses in the NFL. And they absolutely step up. Look, I understand, and I'm going to put the caveat on this because I understand that the Bears, they were on like their 3rd left tackle, their backup right tackle, their backup right guard, their left starting left guard went down in the game. Like, it was bad. But nonetheless, the Patriots have a bad offensive line too. The Patriots have, throughout every week in the NFL so far this season, the worst graded offensive line in the National Football League, and we were still able to make something happen. Not just that, but yes, your offensive line was struggling. You're still 1 for 14 on third down. You couldn't get things going on the run game. You couldn't get things going through the air. I just think that the Patriots defense stepped up. Now, look, am I going to say this is the end-all be-all? Am I saying the Patriots defense has arrived, that everything is okay? DeMarcus Covington is being forgiven? No, that's not what I'm saying. We need to see how they progress moving forward. But this was a step in the right direction. And maybe this was momentum. Like we've been saying all season long, football is just as much about the mental aspect, the momentum, just as much as it is the talent and the physicality side of things. If the defense can just use this game as a get right and use it as motivation and use that momentum going into next week and play well and just continue that momentum, then I think they can start playing better. And I think they showed today in the secondary, in the pass rush, just how good this defense can still be despite all of the injuries.
I hope that it's a confidence booster, but let's call a spade a spade. Eberflus is a freaking idiot.
Yeah.
As a coach, they're one of the worst third down offenses in the NFL. That's literally a statistic. The one thing I am actually impressed with, though, that 142 total yards is actually great because even if Caleb Williams is not doing great, I expected them to run all over us with Swift. So that's already in a step in the right direction, especially when we had multiple weeks of like 150 plus yards run on us. That 21 quarterback pressures, that's also great. Hey, Farms, Jesus, he had a game and a half today, 9 sacks. That's amazing, and I think we hadn't done something close to that since 2021. So the only thing I'm really going to hang my hat on is that 9 sacks. The 21 quarterback pressures, and probably that 142 yards. The third down one, that's kind of like, that's just per usual as far as the Chicago Bears go. And hopefully it's a confidence booster, but we are going against an idiot of head coach. So, and you got another monster in Sean McVay next week.
And here's the thing too. It would be one thing if the Patriots defense went out there and they just they put up a few sacks, like they had a decent game, but I don't care how bad your O-line is. These are still NFL players. They still have dogs. You have Caleb Williams, 1st overall pick. You have DeAndre Swift, a dog at running back. You have 3 wide receiver ones and a good tight end. They can still find ways to be successful. The Patriots defense went above and beyond, and it goes past more than just the Bears had a bad offensive line. The Patriots defense stepped up. The Patriots defense played well. Yes, this isn't like I said, the end all be all. We need to see if they can consistently do this. What can they do against the Rams next week? What can they do when the Cardinals come along? I'm not expecting this every single week, but again, I don't care how bad the opponent is. The fact that the defense was able to come out and do this, I thought was absolutely amazing. And the one thing too is that it wasn't just one player. You had several different players on this defense stepping up today and making plays. And that's what also makes me feel confident that, okay, maybe this defense can get it together. Maybe this defense can still be good, because it's not just like, oh, well, the Keon White was the only player today, or Dietrich Wise was the only player today who balled out because they had a favorable matchup. No. Guys in the secondary, guys on the defensive line, these linebackers, special teamers playing on defense today were stepping up and making plays. And I think that's an indictment on the offense.
I think the biggest thing is this, man. I feel like our staff, our defensive staff has really put a lot of faith in these guys and really kind of instilled that, because they probably could have gone out and got a defender in a trade before the trade deadline. But they were like, you know what? And that probably, I'm just trying to be the devil's advocate. Maybe that's something that kind of instilled confidence in them. I'm also curious to see how Ngakoue performs in this, because he's kind of cut to the similar mold that a Josh Uche is. He's a player that's really good, just really hampered by injuries. And I hope we can get him involved and really see what this defense can do. I don't personally give a crap about how bad the Bears' offensive line is, because, like we said, the damn Patriots' offensive line ain't great either. The difference is they have guys that are incredible in Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet, Rome Odunze, DJ Moore. There really is. I don't want to hear excuses for Caleb Williams. I'm sorry. This is also an indictment on him, because he's not the only one that's having to overcome his situation. Are the situations worse for Caleb Williams than it is for Drake Maye? I really think not. I'm sorry, because you say Eberflus, I raise you Gerard Mayo. So I'm that's just how I see it.
Yeah, it's hard to say he's in a worse situation. He has a better defense
He's
right
not,
now.
man. Especially those receivers.
Staff, way better weapons on offense.
Better defense.
Discussion. But
better defense.
Like we said, a lot of the players just balled out today. I mean, even Christian Gonzalez, he was going up against Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, 1 catch allowed, 18 yards, and he was targeted 4 times. So another outstanding game by Christian Gonzalez. Jelani Tavai with another really good game at linebacker, man. Like, really good game. Maybe even safe to say Jelani Tavai has returned after he had a really, really rough start to the season. 8 tackles, a tackle for loss, a sack, a pass defended that was almost an interception by Jonathan Jones. Jeremiah Farms steps up big time with Jaquelin Roy going down with a head injury, or rather a neck injury. 5 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and a sack. Keon White, really good game today. 4 total tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 sack, and 1 pass defended. Anthony Jennings not just balling out against the run, being the best overall run defender in the National Football League, but also getting to the quarterback. 4 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. Let's see. You also had
Jelani Tavai. Tavai had a hell of a game too.
Yeah. I'm trying to see who else on this had I'm trying to get through everybody that had a sack today. Del Pettis, the backup, or is it Del Pettis or Del Pettis? It's Del Pettis, right?
I think it's Del Pettis.
Okay, so Del Pettis, the UDFA safety, stepped up big time today. 2 tackles, a tackle for loss, a sack on a safety blitz. Also had a pass defended, a really good textbook pass defense too. Dietrich Wise, really good game from him. 2 tackles, a tackle for loss, 2 sacks. Brendan Schooler comes in as the quarterback spy for Caleb Williams. He made a couple of really good plays, one of which was a tackle for loss. One, of course, was also a sack.
Can I just say something
a lot of guys
real quick?
out.
Brendan Schooler is a star. That kid is a star. And I'm happy we have him for the future, because he's special.
I'm okay with seeing him. I'm okay with seeing Brendan Schooler in certain packages defensively. Like a quarterback spy, he has a safety background. I'm more than okay with seeing him in more roles. I don't want him to be like a starting safety or a starting cornerback, but if you want to put him in a couple of different packages week to week defensively, I thought that was an excellent way to use him, and he looked really, really good. He's really good at blitzing. He's good at getting to the quarterback, and he has, of course, that coverage experience too, if need be. I like that they're utilizing him.
I just like how versatile he is. He seems like a baller. And every time he makes a tackle or something, I just get hyped.
I mean, he gets hyped too. And the great thing too is they extended him a few weeks ago. So that's a guy that's a part of the future now too. So definitely can't complain there. But any last parts of this game, Rob, before we get on to the Patreon members?
No, man, it's a dub, but I'm not going to put too much stock into it, man. That's a bad team we played against. I want to get a win against a good team. We haven't really beat a good team yet.
Yeah.
I'm be honest
you beat
with
the Bengals, the Jets, the Bears, and almost the Titans.
Okay, so who do we got next? The Rams. If we beat the Rams, I'll be a little bit more hyped. I want a memorable win. Although beating the Jets is like Christmas, but I want to get a win that really can hang our hat on, because that we could look back on going into next season.
Yeah, love beating the Jets, but any team beating the Jets isn't like, oh my God, like, you kidding me? Like, let's go, we beat the Jets. Like, this is momentum. This is something different, baby. Let's go. Like, no, that's not what beating the Jets is. That's what the Jets thought they were, but in reality, that's not what they are. Like, beating the Jets is like beating the Patriots and the Titans and the Bears. So yeah, I mean, you want to see a confident win. If you can get even one of those, I think a win against the Chargers makes you feel pretty good. I think a win against the Bills makes you feel pretty good. So
a win against the Bills will be like amazing.
Although, you know what? Joe Burrow is balling right now. Like, Joe Burrow is playing really good football.
It's unfortunate, man, because I think T. Higgins is not playing. He's playing for his contract. He's not playing because I don't think he's that injured.
They should have traded him at the trade deadline, because
that was such a big mistake.
He's gonna
because now they're not getting nothing for that now.
Yeah,
even if it was like a fourth round, even if it was a fourth, man, something.
You got Jermaine Burton also not happy with his lack of playing time, so you could have killed two birds with one stone. But they're still in the running for a playoff spot. So, maybe that's why they're fully expecting to try and make the playoffs. But let's go ahead and let's bring on our Patreon members, and we're gonna start with our boy DTN, brother. How are we?
Doing good. Also, a great day to be a Boston fan. The fact that we just got a dub in Chicago, also getting a dub in Milwaukee. Wish we could have got a dub in Ottawa against the Senators, but it doesn't matter. I'm just satisfied we have a good day. Defense playing their asses off. Like, I'm satisfied to see that. I just wish it should have been more consistent, like, throughout the whole entire season. Yeah, I'm glad we got a good game. I just wish we could do more, something even better. Like, I like the fact of how the team bounced back in situations right after like a heartbreaking loss against the Titans. I want to see if they can do the same thing against the Rams, because for a fact the Rams, how we always say that how we compare the O-line to the Bears. The Rams O-line, I don't know if this is still certain that the Rams O-line, they're also depleted, because they're like an injury. I don't know, because I don't know if they're like down to like their second string left tackle, or I don't know. I haven't paid attention to like their O-line since the first game against the Lions, but we shall see for next week again at home. But I know that even though we got to win, we just got to clean up some like controversy with, like, for example, Kendrick Bourne, for example. Let's go back to like Elliot Wolf for a second. You extended that guy because he is a natural born leader. And I like the fact that we signed KJ Osborne, but what has he done for the past few games? Yeah, he got like a touchdown and all that. But Kendrick Bourne, he's here for some leadership. He is great off the field. Why not give him some reps, and instead you're giving reps to a guy who has been on the team, is going to be on the team for like 1 year? That's what pissing everybody off. And I see a couple of comments saying, why not fire one of the assistant coaches? Like, we talk about AVP, we talk about like DC. Why not talking about some of the assistant coaches? Because I don't know if they're doing a good job with their certain roles, like Scott Peters. Why not?
I don't know about Scott Peters. Here's my biggest thing with Scott Peters. I think he's a hell of an offensive line coach. I think he's really having to work with nothing. AVP is a big what if. I don't know. See, my biggest thing is this going into next year. I know we've all kind of harped on maybe possibly moving on from offensive coordinators or whoever may be on this route. We're all pissed off about the situation, whether from week to week. But I don't know if it's a good thing to fire anybody going into next season because, I mean, really look what they have to work with. And we all knee-jerk reaction. Believe me, every week me and Colby are like, Jesus, this is annoying. But personally, I just think that let's keep the staff no matter. And if it starts, if next year doesn't work out, then really start making some real decisions because they got a ton of money to work with and great draft capital. So there won't be any excuses next year.
Agreed. Also, yeah, I agree. I know for a fact we all want to say fire AVP and hire like someone like Brian Dable if he gets fired by the Giants. But let's just remind some of the
firing him. The home, I think it's either the owner or the GM came out and said he's not going nowhere.
Oh, I see. Well, just to let some of the Patriots fans know, we had like 4 different offensive coordinators for like the past 4 years. Josh McDaniels, Matt Patricia, and then Bill O'Brien, and now AVP. We can't just go back and back and switch off like offensive coordinators like every single year.
I think the biggest thing, man. I'm sorry for cutting you off. I think the biggest thing is how many times do you want to keep changing up the scheme and just how we run the offense. That's the biggest thing. But also the biggest thing to go off of that as well is we don't even what the hell is the identity of this offense. So there's really no way to really judge how we go moving forward because Colby, I don't know about you, man. What's the identity of this team? We can't run the football.
The identity they want is to be able to run the football. Like ideally, that's what we thought. It was going to be a run-centric, run-based.
But what is the identity of this team though? Like what if you had to put your your nail on it? Like what is the identity of this team?
Just Drake Maye. That's it. Like that's it. Like that's
really what it is.
That's just. There's no way around it. There's no like specifics. It's not we're passing the ball this way or we're gonna run outside zone or inside zone. It's just Drake Maye.
If it was for the whole entire team, the whole identity should be on the defense because even with Bill Belichick gone, the defense should have like stepped up throughout the whole entire season.
I will say this though, losing I think people are underselling losing Peppers and Christian Barmore.
Jawan Bentley's a huge one.
Jawan Bentley,
the captain.
Those are.
Kyle Duggar, if you think about it.
Christian Barmore may not be a captain, but he's still such an integral part of like.
He's a top 10 defensive lineman. Last year, he was a top 10 defensive lineman.
I don't know if we're coming up with narratives around like the Pats fan base. Like we hear like stories about like the captain curse, and also going back to Jalen Pulk. Nobody even mentioned about wide receivers wearing the number 1. Is it like people think it's like a curse? People wearing the number 1 for some reason. Like Polk had a decent game, which he could have more like production. Then again, we just need to see how well Polk does to end off the season. Even though during the beginning of the season, it wasn't like perfect for him. Like everybody thinks the number 1 is like a curse. Like N'Keal Harry wore number 1, Devontae Parker wore number 1. I just don't know why people think like the number 1 is something.
You know that's fair. I mean? Superstition, man. Superstition.
Yeah, superstition.
The only number that I would think is a joke is 17. I think number 1, like we've seen Cam Newton ball out at times when he had number 1. That's not the thing, man. He's a rookie. Like the superstition crap about it. Stop listening to it.
Yeah, stop. And also, I don't want to hear the superstitions about the number 10 being like, oh, Drake Maye is like Mac Jones. No, he's not. Drake Maye is like balling off. He's like putting his offense on his shoulders. Like, I just found this on X of something interesting. Like this was from like a tweet the NFL on Fox Crew says Patriots rookie Drake Maye was frustrated with the offense not being locked in this week, and he addressed them himself. Offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt says it was a big step for Maye in regards to his leadership. Love to hear. Yeah.
So going back to that number 10, look, that doesn't mean nothing. But if people want to talk, listen, Mac Jones is supposed to be, people want to get on that board or whatever. Mac Jones threw 2 interceptions today. He went 14 for 22 for 111 yards. Can we bury this now? The guy sucks.
Yeah, let's just bury. Whether he had a rushing touchdown or not, he's gone.
He's sucks.
Gone. Yeah, he sucks. Like, let's just say we have a franchise quarterback. That's it. We can rag on the Jets saying that we have a franchise quarterback and the Jets don't. Let's just say it. End of story. Because the fact that I'm watching the Cardinals Jets game as well, and it's just satisfying to see the Cardinals whooping the Jets. And I have a lot of words for Wednesday. I have a lot of words on Wednesday. Also, I'm just gonna get onto the AFC East roundtable on Wednesday and just rag on the media saying that Drake Maye is better than Caleb Williams, regardless of like situation. Drake Maye's been balling out regardless of like situation.
That's not a rough take, man. Like, it's not a hot take. I made a video on it. He's a better quarterback, period.
Hey, man, real talk. But hey, look, DTM, brother, we appreciate you for coming on, man.
Also,
I cannot wait to see you Wednesday on the AFC's round.
One more thing. Tomorrow, if the AFC East is doing a SmackDown, I would like you, Kobe, to rag on TD, Richie, and Dan for picking the Bears over the Patriots.
Oh, bro, he's got you. He's got you on that. I guarantee you. But like, let's not gloat too much about beating the Bears.
Yeah.
Hey, man. All right, DTM, brother, we will see you next week. Well, I guess I'll technically see you Wednesday, but this round, or not this round table, but this channel, we'll see you next week. Honestly, I don't even know how much I gotta think. I gotta be strategic about this because I can't go on them too much just because I also picked the Bears. Just because I was like, I can't pick the Patriots until they're so inconsistent. You know what I'm saying? Like, how am I supposed to take this team to win?
I don't really blame you either. What has this team shown you that, like, as far as consistency goes, to really try to pick them?
Yeah, I picked them to beat the Titans after they beat the Jets, and they, because
that's a game we should have won. That's a game we should have won because Mason Rudolph sucks. He's terrible.
And we lost it. And I was like, oh, but now we're going to beat the Bears somehow. So I was I can't.
That one don't make any sense to me because Mason Rudolph is terrible.
Hey, man, but look, real quick, I do want to give another big shout out to the sponsors of this video over at BetUS. When you guys sign up right now, use the promo code that you see on the screen, YouTube150. You'll be pinned into an exclusive limited time offer of a 150% sign up bonus on your first deposit, followed by 125 on your next 2, all the way up to $2,000. BetUS, they got the best sportsbook on the damn platform. I'm talking about player props, parlays, NFL futures like the draft, NFL awards, college football, basketball, baseball, horse racing, fighting, entertainment, politics. If it's something that you would like to bet on and have a little bit of extra fun with, maybe tease around with your family members like, oh, okay, you know what? You think that I'm going to lose? We'll drop it with BetUS because I think I'm going to freaking win. Then let me tell you, BetUS is the place to do that because they got the best damn sports book on the platform. But big shout out to them. Couldn't be here without them. Have a little bit of extra fun this football season. But guys, please, 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 please play smart and never bet more than you can afford to lose. But Rob, we're going to wrap it up here. Are there any last thoughts that you have about this game, or just last thoughts you have about the Patriots right now heading into week 11?
I didn't know Drake Maye actually addressed like the damn. I'm downloading.
Oh yeah. He addressed the team.
Yeah, that I just found the clip on Instagram. I can't believe he actually did that. This kid's 22 years
22.
old and he's doing that?
Just turned 22.
That's freaking incredible. I love that. Okay, so I'm happy about that. That's my closing remarks because everybody's got to be places. But I'm happy about that. That's awesome.
Hey man, he's stepping up. And a big part of being a franchise quarterback is
not even just that. The part where he basically said clap it up for the defense. Like this guy, like he is a leader. He's a leader. I love it.
And the thing too is like being a quarterback isn't just about playing good on the field, but it's about bringing your team together. When you're a quarterback, that is your team. You got to be what brings the team together, gets them on track, keeps them motivated. You are the face of the franchise. And I feel like we never saw that with Mac Jones. We never saw a guy that could be the face of the franchise and really take things over. He was just another guy. But with Drake Maye, he's not just another guy. Not on the field, not in the locker room. This is a guy that really can be the face of the New England Patriots. And again, I said a successful season for the Pats wasn't about wins or losses. It was about saying that you hit on the quarterback position. And I'm feeling pretty good about that. But guys, we're going to end it.
How many times have we said that?
Yeah, exactly. Again, a lot of people wanted the Patriots to go and make this big Jaden Daniels, CJ Stroud, Houston Texans run. Would have been cool, but that's not what we need. Realistically, we just need to know we hit on the quarterback, build some momentum, and just start building the team around him. You hit on the quarterback position, you hit on the hardest part. Now it's just about building the easy pieces around him. But guys, that is going to end it for today's video. Really appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure you go ahead and you subscribe here to the channel at Patriots Global. Hit that bell notification when you do so that you get notified every single time we post, every single time we go live. You guys are not going to want to miss out on it. I got some more content dropping for you guys throughout the week. If you guys haven't already, go ahead and check out my video breakdown about the New England Patriots signing pass rusher Yannick Ngakoue off of waivers from the Ravens. Big move. Love the move. I think it could have a really good impact, and that is a move I'm really excited for. That might be one of the biggest moves I'm excited for in a long time. So definitely go ahead and check out that video. Make sure you guys go ahead and check out Rob on Instagram. As you guys can see, it says Rob and then like Patriots7. That is his handle. Patriots7S. That is Rob's handle on Instagram. Best damn content for the New England Patriots and really Boston sports in general over on Insta. So make sure you check that out. He's got you filled with, him going live, statistics, breakdowns, reactions, quotes from players in the media.
He's just gassing me up, y'all. He's just gassing me up.
You guys, no, I swear. Go ahead and check out Rob's page. Y'all know I would never lie to you. Best damn content on Instagram. Check it out. Give Rob a follow and let him know in the comment section below that you found him from Patriots Global, just so he knows. But guys, we appreciate you. Leave a like on the way out. But until next time, I'll see you later this week, and go Pats.